Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you all to this wonderful evening.
We are truly delighted to have you all here with us. Tonight is not only about showcasing a development, it is a unique opportunity that we present to you today.
To officially begin tonight's program and tell you more about this opportunity, it's our pleasure to invite Ms. Dinushka Ranasinghe, Head of Sales and Marketing.
Thank you, Litera and Nikita. Welcome to all of you here. The view is a little distracting, don't you think? I find myself amazed by it no matter how many times I come up here. You've got the harbour onto that side, and it's always such a lively hub of activity. It's a magic that somehow never fades. You've also got your city lights onto this side, and it's certainly quite obvious why we have so many songs written about the city lights, don't you think? It gives a sense of possibility. And isn't it that same sense of possibility that has brought us here together today? But before I get to that, let me talk to you a little bit about luxury. Now, luxury I find is a rather fascinating concept, mostly because of how so very personal it is. What is luxury to me may be different to what is luxury to you. Now, for some, it could possibly be handcrafted watches. I see some ladies out there tonight. Maybe for you, it's a luxury purse or two. A rare collectible, maybe. Or for some, maybe a vintage car meticulously restored to pristine condition. No matter what your choice of poison or luxury may be, what can't be denied is the fact that luxury, true luxury, is an investment. I mean, let's be honest. How many times have we found comfort in that phrase? It's not just a purchase, it's an investment at some time or the other. You talk to the watch collector, and he will talk your ear off as to how some certain timepieces not only hold their value, but actually increase in value over a period of time. Your design collector will also tell you the same thing, and they're not entirely wrong. Luxury is unique in that it combines emotion, enjoyment, and long term value. But as we all know, as with any investment, there comes an element of risk. Investment, by its very nature, has a risk inherently built into it. Markets change, brands evolve, and you might find your most prestigious assets are not immune to the fluctuations of perception and value. Now, while I understand that the purchases we just spoke about aren't usually bought with investment in mind, they're possibly more indulgences. I think what we can all agree is that property is far different. It is a far more intentional decision. People buy property for two reasons. One, as an out and out investment. You're looking at your capital appreciation, your rental income, and you pay a lot of attention to the investment value of it. The second purpose is residential, and while on the surface it may come off as, you don't need to pay attention to the investment value of it as much, let's be honest, in this volatile world that we live in, at the end of the day, the value and resilience of your asset will always eventually matter. And now, this conversation becomes far more pertinent to those of us in Sri Lanka. The streets of Colombo and beyond are peppered with warning signs and cautionary tales of the complexities and risks that come with investing in property development. Now, the reasons for these are many and varied and sometimes very valid. I mean, we've had economic crises, global disruptions, there are financial constraints. But at the end of the day, the end result is always the same. In every one of these cases, investor confidence takes a beating as a whole. So the skepticism within the industry, the skepticism within the market, the skepticism probably within some of you here, right here today, is probably fair and very valid. We find more and more buyers come and ask us questions beyond the location and design. They're asking the bigger questions. Who is the developer? Will the project be completed? And far more importantly, is my investment secure? Because true luxury today goes beyond the amenities and the lifestyle. Don't get me wrong, this is very important. Lifestyle matters, design matters. But the greatest luxury, I think, is confidence today. Confidence that the project will be completed. Confidence that the quality will match the promises made, and confidence that your investment will be worthwhile in the end. And that brings us to the opportunity we have to present to all of you here today, as we combine the aspirations and lifestyle of luxury living with the confidence that you, the investor, are increasingly seeking. So, let me introduce Zero Risk Luxury.
For decades, Access Engineering PLC has shaped Sri Lanka's skyline and infrastructure, a publicly listed engineering powerhouse, the name behind some of the nation's most significant construction and infrastructure milestones, built on precision, financial strength, technical excellence, and a reputation for delivering. This is not just development, this is engineering certainty. And today, that same strength stands behind something iconic. Welcome to Marina Square, Uptown Colombo, Sri Lanka's first and largest harbour-front mixed development, where luxury living comes with zero risk. Zero construction risk. Construction quality guaranteed, no uncertainty. What you see is what you receive. Zero quality risk. All fittings and finishes are confirmed and visible, featuring world-renowned brands, Kohler, Hacker Kitchens, Beko Appliances, Panasonic Air Conditioners, and Yale Digital Locks. Zero developer risk. Fully owned and developed by Access Engineering PLC, a proven track record in consistently delivering engineering excellence. Zero legal and regulatory risk. Clear title, all approvals secured. Zero speculation risk. No relying on renders or 3D images. See your exact apartment, your actual view, your surroundings before you commit. Zero financial risk. Starting from 71 million rupees, 40% down payment, balance at handover, interest-free payment plan, extending to 2027. Overlooking the Indian Ocean, the Colombo skyline, and Port City, a comprehensive range of lifestyle amenities designed for elevated living, unmatched connectivity, unmatched comfort, unmatched luxury, unmatched confidence. Zero risk, total confidence. Marina Square, Uptown Colombo, where home awaits.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your opportunity to experience zero risk luxury. I'm Delshan, this is Monali, and this is Ashal, two senior sales managers in Marina Square. We are here to share some insights about Marina Square and take you through these pillars of risks that we've identified in the real estate market. And we are going to also show you how Marina Square eliminates all these risks that we see in the real estate industry. So let's dive into the first risk, the construction risk. So Ashal, looking at the real estate market, what's the biggest risk that you see in the industry?
Without a doubt, it's the non-completion of a project. There's nothing more terrifying than committing to a residential investment to only see it stall indefinitely. We've all driven through parts of Colombo and seen these abandoned skeletons of structures just gathering dust. And this serves as a constant reminder as to how real this risk is. And sadly, some of you here in the audience might have had first-hand experience of dealing with this nightmare, investing and pouring money into developments that never really materialized.
Absolutely, Ashil. Like, if you drive around Colombo, you will see so many projects that have stalled. And when you look at the investor's point, when you look at those developments, where does the investor end up? They end up with a lot of legal battles. They end up with timeless delays, financial loss, and so many more inconveniences.
Exactly. But here's the game changer. By investing in a completed development like Marina Square, you sidestep this entirely. The construction is done, every floor, every fitting, every amenity is already been completed. As a customer, you can come, you can experience the space, and you know exactly what you're purchasing. No more waiting on timelines, no more surprise delays. We've delivered a turnkey luxury experience where you can even move in tomorrow if you choose. For these reasons, the construction risk at Marina Square is truly 0%, embodying our zero risk luxury promise.
Well said, Ashil. So, when you talk about construction risk, another thing that is very well linked with construction risk is developer risk. So, Ashil, what do you think makes a developer reliable?
Developer risk boils down to two main factors: strength and resilience of the team behind the project. Whether it's an under construction project, a project that's nearing completion, or a fully completed development like Marina Square. You need a developer that can navigate the challenges that come its way during the course of construction. Take Access Engineering, for example, our powerhouse developer. They're not just a real estate construction company. They're a contractor with a solid foundation in infrastructure and diversified from industries from telecommunications all the way up to logistics and everything in between. This breadth allows them to absorb shocks from macro-environmental changes, economic downturns, and unexpected events that may come up during any construction period. And Marina Square is the perfect example of this. It has weathered the storm of recent history, starting from the tragic Easter bombings of 2019, the COVID-19 pandemic that halted global supply chains, the economic crisis of 2022, Sri Lanka's worst economic crisis, with skyrocketing inflation and significant material shortages. And during this time, many projects faltered, but we pushed through. The reason for this was Access Engineering's backward and forward integration. Step further by enhancing the finishes and fittings and upgrading it well above the original spec to our investors. When the developer and the contractor are the same party, they have the margins to give the value for money proposition to our investors. Our track record isn't just talk, it's proven delivery. This stability means you invest with peace of mind, knowing that we're built to last. And for these reasons, the developer risk at Marina Square is 0%, aligning perfectly with our zero-risk luxury experience.
Impressive resilience indeed. Now let's switch to quality risk. Monali, how does a completed project like ours address the uncertainties customers have about the quality of the product?
Yes, Darshan, first of all, let me explain what is this quality risk is, right? We all have heard about these instances where the finishes might be subpar or the fixtures can be cheap. Because also sometimes developers also forced to compromise on the quality due to the macroeconomic factors. Therefore, they will show you something else and you will be getting something totally different. This is where the quality risk comes in. For a quality of an apartment project, the developer's strength and the expertise is heavily it's heavily dependent on the developer's strength and the expertise. So basically the brand that they select, the warranty periods, the brand reputation, those are the real concerns of the clients these days. So at Marina Square, we are providing you the topmost international brands for your fixtures and fittings. If I mention you few names, Beko electrical appliances and Kohler bathroom fittings and the German imported Hacker kitchens, TKE elevators and many more. And other than that, for all these brands, the main added advantage is you have your local agent available in Sri Lanka. So that gives you more confidence and the assurance for easy access for the services, warranty periods and the parts. That is why we are very proud to say at Marina Square the quality risk is zero.
Thank you, Monali. And that hands-on assurance is invaluable. Speaking about value, next let's tackle speculation risk. How do we remove the gamble out of appreciation and your returns?
Yes, Darshana, I think speculation risk arises when you are betting on future potential. It's all about that what you see in a brochure or a video won't match the reality, right? Because we all have doubts in the beginning of when we are investing on an apartment. We think whether we will get the exact view that we want, whether we will get the exact finishes that we want, the features, the facilities. So because the main reason is at the initial stage you buy based on the 3D renderings and the samples. That is why there can be many reasons where you will not get what you expected in the beginning. If I explain you further, during a launch period or a construction time, you can't really see what you are investing on. You can't really see the product. It's intangible, right? But here, as we have fully completed at Marina Square, you know where you are putting your money on. You know what is your exact investment, right? You can see the apartment. It's tangible. You know the size of your bedrooms. You know the size of the kitchen, how the layout's going to be, where your amenities are located, where the pool, where the kids play area, where the gymnasium, everything is tangible and completely free of doubts. That is why we say at Marina Square, the speculation risk is also zero.
Excellent insight, Monali. Now to the next pillar, market risk. This one's influenced by forces beyond any developer's control. Dilshan, why don't we walk the customers through how Marina Square navigated this?
Thanks, Ashel. So, like you rightfully said, the market risk is not anything created by the developer or the customer. The market risk is all external factors that affects the development or the construction. So let's talk about how this affects the price of the product and the quality of the product. So if you take, for an example, the situation in the Middle East at the moment, that could result in maybe the construction cost going up or costs of fuel going up, like sorts. So in Sri Lanka, the best example that you can take for market risk is the economic crisis that happened in 2022. We were in the middle of construction at that time, and we were also affected by this economic crisis. In 2022, some materials jumped up by almost double the price, some even quadruple. And at that point, it was not only us who were affected. A lot of developments in Colombo were affected by this. And a lot of developments in Colombo had no choice but to go back to their customers and tell them, the construction cost has gone up and, you will have to pay about 10% more for your apartment. And what was the alternative the developer had at that time? Nothing. It's either you stop constructing the product or you increase the price. But that is also where Access Engineering really shines. When that crisis came, we had sold about 500 units at pre-sold prices. But Access Engineering took the conscious decision not to go back to their customers and say, we have to change the price for you. They absorbed the cost, all because they had the financial strength and they had the capability, and they wanted to make sure they stand by what they promised the customer. And they also went further and improved the product. And that is one reason that the market risk is low in Marina Square. And the other thing is, we have already built. We know the cost of it. We know how much it costs. None of the macro environmental factors are going to affect us going forward. So these reasons bring the market risk down to zero at Marina Square and tangibly look at. So at that specific moment, your construction risk is very high because nothing is built. But your financial risk is very low because you only have to put maybe 10% down payment for the apartment. But when the project is completed, this flips over. Your financial risk is very high because you have to pay about 70, 80 million for an apartment on the onset itself. Your construction risk is low because the project is completed. At Marina Square, we have gone the extra mile to give you both zero construction risk and zero financial risk. We have a payment plan where you can pay only 30% and pay installments until the end of 2027. If there is a customized payment plan that you need, we can have a chat. The three of us will be here today. You all can come and tell us exactly the payment plan you need, and maybe we can work around it. By doing this, we have brought the financial risk at Marina Square down to zero.
That's right, Dilshan. So far this evening, we've spoken about the different types of risks that typically come with real estate investment and how Marina Square removes many of those uncertainties. But I'd like to shift your focus for a moment from risk to lifestyle. Because when you invest in a home, you're not just investing in the apartment itself. You're investing in the quality of life it creates for you every day. And that's where the common amenities of a development become incredibly important. One of the most unique features of Marina Square is something that is extremely rare in the heart of the city: space. The development offers over 2.5 acres of beautifully landscaped garden areas for residents to use. Now, to put that into perspective for you, there's no other development within a 2-kilometer radius of Colombo 1 that can make this bold claim. In a dense urban environment like central Colombo, open green space is incredibly limited. So having this amount of landscape garden area within the development itself is truly exceptional. Speaking personally, as a young dad myself, I really appreciate the value of this space. Having a safe and secure garden where your children can run around, play outdoors and enjoy a bit of nature while still living in the middle of the city is something young families truly dream about. Beyond the gardens, Marina Square also offers a full range of lifestyle amenities designed to complement modern urban living. Residents have access to a 100-foot-long pool with the infinity views of the Colombo skyline and the ocean, a fully equipped state-of-the-art gymnasium with steam rooms and saunas, recreational lounges for entertainment, indoor and outdoor kids play areas, squash courts, basketball courts, pickleball courts, jogging tracks, biking tracks. We even have a cricket simulator in the development. And of course, the project comes with 24-hour security, secure parking, access control lifts and lobbies, which ensure convenience, comfort, and most importantly, peace of mind for the residents. And because Marina Square is fully completed, these amenities are not just concepts or artistic impressions. They're already built and ready to be experienced. And it's the combination of these generous spaces, thoughtful amenities, and certainty of a completed development that makes Marina Square such a unique value for money offering in the heart of Colombo.
Speaking of the heart of Colombo, let's speak about the heart, the location. When it comes to real estate, the key phrase is location, location, location. So let's watch a beautiful video on how Marina Square brings history, culture, and luxury into one.
Thank you, team. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we have a special segment tonight.
Colombo is a city of dualities. Glass towers scrape the sky while old streets whisper history. And in the middle of it all is Cartagena, Colombo 13. Once a humble fishing hamlet and named after the cotan trees that lined its land, Cartagena grew as one with Colombo. Over time, it became more than an address. It became a living chapter of Colombo's story. In the 16th century, the Portuguese settled here. The Dutch and British followed, each leaving their mark, shaping trade, faith, and culture. By the 19th century, Cartagena had become a place of aspiration. Its streets carried ambition. Its neighborhoods reflected lives intertwined with the city's pulse. And many of those foundations are still alive today. Cotahena's history does not live in the archives. It lives in its landmarks. Churches to temples, covils to mosques, they all exist side by side. The city's spirit was not one that was ever bound to a single tradition or faith. Wolvendal Church, standing since 1749, holds centuries under its roof. Inspired by St. Peter's Basilica, St. Lucia's Cathedral rises as the largest Catholic church in Sri Lanka. Their presence whispers a tale of devotion and a community rooted in faith. Deepadutta became a hub for Buddhist revival with the Panchamahavadaya of 1862. And nearby, the Sri Ponnambalavaneswara Devasthanam stands tall, carved entirely from stone, a testament to devotion that's etched into time. These landmarks stand together, not by chance, but as part of a living, breathing mosaic of community and life. Mornings come early in Cotaheina. Shops lift their shutters, homes open their doors. It's a place in motion. Cotaheina's influence extends far beyond faith. It carries a long history of education, trade, and lives well lived. Institutions like the Good Shepherd Convent, founded in 1869, and St. Benedict's College, now over 160 years old, have shaped and continue to mold the generations of Cotaheina. Trade too followed the same rhythm. With the harbour close by, Cotaheina grew alongside it. Its people live in sync with the rhythm of trade, commerce, and potential. And though the grand colonial homes of Cotaheina no longer stand, their absence tells a story of its own. Cotaheina is a city ever evolving. Its spirit is not just preserved in old edifices, but in the newer skyline that defines it. Cotaheina is not just where life has been, it's where life awaits. Cities weren't meant to stand still. They breathe, they stretch, they rise. Cotaheina has always moved with Colombo. From fishing village to colonial stronghold to a city shaped by faith, trade, and learning. Now, it stands at the brink of something new. As the new highway draws the island closer to the city and the harbour hums louder than ever, the possibilities are endless. And what was once overlooked is now unmistakably central. At the heart of this new horizon, Marina Square rises, not in spite of Cotaheina, but because of it. After all, Cotaheina has never been a place frozen in time. It has been, and always will be, a city in motion.
Thank you, team. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we have a special segment tonight. To take you through this special segment, I invite Mr. Christopher Joshua, Vice Chairman, Access Engineering.
Good evening to all of you, and on behalf of the Marina Square team, I should thank each and every one of you for finding the time to be with us this evening. I think the sales team did a great sales pitch, and I think already know about more details about development than I do, I think. And yeah, that was quite insightful also to everybody. Before I get on to the main event, I just want to add a few more things to what the salespeople said, I think. A couple of things, I think, what I've heard from the team is a lot of questions that come with the location. Of course, quite rightly, you saw some nostalgia about Kotahena, how important it is. But I'll give something more relevant to current times. I think it's time for Kotahena to bloom. The reason is, of course, it has to be fact-based, and the reason I believe is that, as an entrepreneur and an investor, so I look at 3 time horizons. I look at, if I make an investment, I look at in 10 months where it will be, in 10 years where will it be, and of course, first of all, in 10 days, will I think whether it was a wise investment or not? I have an afterthought. So we look at, when we are making investments, we look at it in that form, in every sense, personal or business. Why is Marina Square, Uptown Colombo a good investment? Of course, I think it's a brilliant investment. One of the reason is, of course, if you look from value for money, I suppose, we are well within whatever is offered. And the only question may arise, okay, we have put the price proposition based on the location too. But of course, the question will arise whether is this the right location? So if you know Colombo, the municipal council limits 1 to 15. There is 37 square kilometers in this Colombo municipal council limits, city limits. There are about, I think, 600,000 inhabitants in the Colombo municipal limits living, and another 600,000 commuting in and out of the city. So 1.2 million roughly in 37 square kilometers of area. So all these people inhabit in this area. Most of these people are currently living, of course, south of Colombo. Not in north of Colombo, but in the south of Colombo. And if you see from a congestion perspective, of course, that's get more congested. We've been involved in construction of flyovers in Dahiwala, in Rajagiriya, and we have in Kohuala, and in Kelaniya, and we have seen the traffic influx and increase from the time we do a traffic study when we are starting the project, and by the time we finish the project, it's already doubled, and these corridors are just significantly increasing. This corridor relatively has not been so. We're talking about the future here. And another question we have to say is there is, of course, a lot of traction and action about the port city. Right now, I think a lot of developers are running, to be the first developer there, and a lot of sound about the port city. The port city, relatively to the Colombo Municipal Council, is an area of about 2.7 square kilometers. 37 square kilometers is Colombo Municipal Council. Port city is 2.7 square kilometers. Okay, port city, of course, is I think it's a very good investment for the country. But I have a question about commuting in and out of the port city. Port city right now, I see only one artery going into the port city from near the President's Secretariat. And the port city, once developed, they say there will be maybe about I think 2,000 residents and maybe 200,000 people working there. So I don't know how you're going to get in and get out. One is that. And secondly, if you live there, I don't know how you're going to get in and get out too. So from the opportunity for Marina Square is, okay, if you want to get into the port city, I think the best way will be living a little out of it and getting in and out on an elevated road like what is offered to get in there and out. So if port city progresses well, I think the upside to the Uptown Colombo, what we call it, to the north of Colombo, is going to be much greater. And if you look at your investment in, 10 months, maybe 10 years, I think you will understand that you have made one of the wisest investments, and we firmly believe it. We are not storytellers. We are basically, as I said, we are in construction. We do things. We don't tell stories, and our work speaks for ourselves. For our performance, and we are judged by what we do, not what we really say. So we have, as the people said, we have a track record of doing that even in this development and in that promise, that's what we have. Then Deshan spoke about, we giving our customers who booked with us early at the same price. Yes, we did that for a couple of reasons. One is, of course, we made the investment and maybe about 40-50% of the development cost post-crisis. So, of course, we had the room to do that. And secondly, for the rest of the development, of course, we've been a construction company and we can control our overheads, we can control our margins, we can control our purchasing, and we can control our expenditure and how best we spend our money. And that has gone into the Marina Square project too. That is why you have, significant value for money in this development. And I must say that if we start a development right now, which we will of course do, the same benefit of cost we will not have for any other project. So that is why Marina Square would always continue to be, an excellent investment in that aspect. And the rest, any development coming right now, of course, will be, market based. So that is another aspect. Then the special, we'll come back to the special, event which we have organized for today. Special event is, we have a person who joined Marina Square as his first job, and came into the business development and sales team, and of course he took up the challenge and believed in the project and believed that it's a good development and good investment for anybody to make in, and he progressed very well, obviously, and convinced maybe currently more than 100 investors that this is their best investment, that the best investment they have made in their lives, and obviously, it's going to hold this person and the investors in good stead. So to commemorate this milestone, I think he's gone beyond 100 now, over a century, and then he's still batting on. I think now century is far behind, and now he's batting on for 150, I don't know, whether 200, I don't know. And we have another half a century, and in Delshan, and of course Monali also almost there. So this commemoration today is for our special centurion. He's none other than, you'll all know, is Ashel Souza. Ashel, you have a bat to raise or what? 100. Yes. So Ashel, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Joshua. So now we are going to invite the man himself, Mr. Ashel Souza, to say a few and wrap up the night. Thanks.
Thank you, Lithra. Ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap up, I'd like to leave you with one simple thought about investing. At the end of the day, every investment decision comes down to one fundamental balance: risk and reward. As investors, all of us constantly ask the same question: am I getting the best possible return for the level of risk I'm taking? In many markets, especially the real estate market, the promise of reward is often accompanied by layers of uncertainty: construction risk, developer risk, market volatility, and financial pressure. What we've demonstrated to you this evening is that Marina Square is designed to remove those layers of uncertainty by delivering a completed premium development backed by a strong and resilient developer. We've created an opportunity where you can truly shift your focus from worrying about the risk to enjoying the reward of a sound investment and luxurious lifestyle. But a project of this scale is never the work of a few individuals alone. We would like to take a moment to sincerely thank our board and the leadership team, contractors, suppliers, and many other partners who helped bring this project to life. And most importantly, we'd like to thank our customers and investors who believed in this project and placed their trust in us. And of course, to all of you here this evening, thank you for spending your time and allowing us to share the Marina Square story with you. Our team will be here for the rest of the evening to answer any questions you may have or arrange any private viewings. Thank you, and we look forward to welcoming you to your home at Marina Square. Enjoy the rest of the evening.